So that's how you get your attorney to come sit down. I welcome everyone tonight to the our meeting on July the 20th. Very glad to have with us, as soon as I find his name, it's Father JoJo somewhere. Is that right? They said JoJo, but it might be something else. Is he here? From the St. Thomas the Apostle Catholic Church. He's going to come forward and give our invocation. Just come up here. And then when we get ready to do the pledge of the flag, we're going to let the Little Leaguers, the All-Star team that won the state champion, we'll get them to lead us in the pledge of the flag. So if Father, is it JoJo? JoJo, give us, if you'll lead us in the invocation, or give the invocation, and then pledge the flag. Everybody please rise.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us pray. God of all creation, we give you thanks for this day and all of its blessings. We ask that you guide our mayor and city council as they deliberate the needs of our community, and to those who have come to express their views on this work. We ask that you grant your gifts of wisdom and understanding so that your will be done. Amen.
Right. Pledge the flag. Come on, Little Leaguers. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. St. Thomas, the Apostle Catholic Church is out on King Springs Road. If you're looking for a change, or if you're trying to find a church to go to, I know they'd love to have you. So thank y'all very much. Agenda changes. Don't think we have any agenda changes. Miss Anulovich is out of town. She's on vacation, I believe. So she's not here. Under the mayor's report, we got some kids to recognize. Some Little League All-Star team. I think there's two of them that won the state champion. Who's going first? Steve, you going to say something, or are you going to just let the coaches go?
I'm going to let the coaches yield.
Okay, thank you, Steve. He's back in the back. I'm going to ask the coaches to come up first. One of our former employees, Broderick Archie, is here. You're the head coach, aren't you?
Yes.
Or do we want to let the president of Little League?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen, I mean, we're extremely proud, first of all, that the boys did what they did. So if you want to come up and just, or you can direct, get BA to come up here. There you go. Here's who I've got: Broderick Archie, Brian Hubble, Eric Homansky, and Joe Dawson. Are those the coaches?
Yes. I'm an imposter.
Those are the eight.
And they aren't the managers, but they're the coaches. The manager's the man, isn't he?
We're the managers.
Okay. Boomer Dunn, David James, Chad Caney, and Bruce Hollomuir. So, but these guys, Boomer and BA, are the managers.
Right.
Hubble is a great coach. So, tell us what you did, and I want you to introduce your players and tell us what happened.
Well, we started in the district tournament, and I believe there was 3 pools of 3, and we ended up winning that, the district.
And that was at Smyrna?
That was hosted at Smyrna.
I think I saw that game, one game.
You did.
Right.
We appreciate you coming.
Right.
Well, we are 7 and 8-year-olds, so all season we played with a pitch machine. Mm-hmm. We won the district tournament that was hosted in Smyrna, and we will move on to the sectional tournament, kind of Little League standards. Well, they take the pitch machine away and say, hey, you got 2 days to find out who can pitch. So
I didn't know that. So y'all didn't have the machine.
We didn't have the machine. The pitch machine went away, and we had 6 solid pitchers. First game went out, kind of didn't know the rules, so you could steal, you can go on pass balls. You couldn't lead off or anything. So we kind of got beat 17-14 by Cartersville in the first game. So I shook the coach hand. I said, "You give me a day of practice, we'll beat you."
This is in the state.
This was the sectionals.
A section.
Sectionals. So we went through and kind of figured it out how to play baseball without a pitcher machine, and ended up winning the championship, I believe 9-7 in Cartersville. Cartersville had already had their rooms reserved in Warner Robins because they figured there was no way they could beat us. And these kids turned around and beat them.
And then you go to state.
Then we go to state down to Warner Robins. First game, our pitchers that we found in 2 days pitched a great game. Ben Homansky and Cash Peterson. We beat Warner Robins 2-1 in a 7-8 baseball game, which was huge. They weren't expecting that. So the next game we turned around and beat Athens, and that put us in the championship because we beat both teams. Only 3 teams in sectionals. And played in a beautiful facility, the Southeastern Regional Stadium that they use that you see on ESPN. And went and handled Warner Robins 10-4, 10-5.
Oh, they were champions the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I didn't realize when I went to see the game at Brinken. I guess that was the first game of the
District.
Well, that's pretty impressive, especially with that Homansky kid.
Yeah.
And I saw him do something, but all of them were unbelievable. They were all. I guess that's why they were all stars. I never went past the regular season. Pretty much. But do you want to introduce the boys? Well, why don't you do the coaches first?
Okay. One of my main men is Brian Hubble.
You got to stand up, Brian. I love to do this.
Eric Homansky.
All right.
And Joe Dawson, which I believe is still on vacation.
I just do the boys. Do you need a list?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, we can Joe Dawson. You know all the kids by their name.
I do.
I do. You're mailman material.
I do what I can do when I can do it. Brady Hubble.
Brady, stand up. My main man, Brady.
Edward Hollywood Norton. Brody Archie. Zaid Rogan. Sam Oakley. Will Burney. Alex Johns. Benjamin Homansky.
Amen.
And Jackson Ramon.
Now, BA, will these kids, will they play together next year?
They will.
So they could end up eventually moving on up to they could be in the World Series, Little League World Series.
Yes, once we get 11 and 12.
Yeah.
And we actually have a really good 12-year-old team this year that you may see on ESPN.
Well, how much did coaching go in, the managing, moving players around and stuff like that?
It's a lot. It's a lot. For one, I tell you, we had almost a 2-hour lightning delay in Warner Robins and try hanging in the dugout with them on that one.
Yeah. So that was the biggest decision you had to make, was to either keep the kids in the dugout. I want to know about that Pepsi Cola or whatever it was, that van. Was that real?
That was very real. That was very real, with flat screens, bathroom, water, anything you needed.
Well, listen, congratulations so much, and we appreciate y'all representing Smyrna. We're going to let Boomer Dunn tell about his team, or do you have anything else to say? BA worked for the city for how many years?
Part-time, full-time, 17, full-time, 8 years.
Now he makes donuts. Go figure. No, not donuts, cupcakes, same thing.
Small cakes, store near you.
Boomer Dunn.
Okay.
We're going to say the best for last.
Yeah, have a seat. Okay. You're good. Well, thank y'all for having us up here tonight. These kids are definitely deserving. This 8-year-old group is definitely deserving as well. We didn't make the road quite as easy as they did. We ended up losing in the district championship to Murphy Candler, who we'd lost to last year as well in the district championship. So, I kind of had some soul searching right there after district. Unfortunately, we got to advance to sectional, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, have they picked the right coach, to do this? Because we got 8-year-olds winning, we got 10-year-olds winning, 11-year-olds winning state championships, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm the right guy anymore. So But thankfully, this group, when we got to sectional, they rallied up in Cartersville, and we ended up beating that same Murphy Candler team. And then we got to the championship, and we beat a Cartersville team that had already beat us in the very first game. So then we got down to Cartersville, down to Warner Robins with the 8-year-olds. We lost our first game to Warner Robins, and then we ended up beating Oconee County 11-0, and then we ended up getting to the championship and playing the game after BA and those guys had won, and we came back and beat Warner Robins that game 10-3. So we had a great run. It's a great group of kids. 10 of these kids played together last year in All-Stars, and we're just hoping that they continue to develop as a team, and we just hope that they all stay at the park and continue to be Smyrna Little Leaguers.
Ned, I know you're going to introduce the kids. I guess you're going to do as good as BA, but your coaches are David James, Chad Caney, and Bruce Hollomere, right?
That's correct.
Will the coaches stand up?
Mm-hmm. And Rich Holland as well. Rich was a big asset. He coached another 8-year-old team.
I actually got to I saw Boomer, I guess, the first game that my grandson played. I saw you at Chuck Camp Park.
That's right.
And then Bruce and Jim coached. It was the Braves, weren't they? And just until I get through saying what I want to say. But they do an outstanding job coaching the kids and getting them to where they need the skills. And opening day was a great opening day. Kids were all out there. I mean, what y'all give back to the community and coaching, these folks don't get paid. We supply the fields. That's sort of the easy thing. But what Smyrna Little League does for our community is just unbelievable. So we thank you very much. Now you can introduce your players if that's okay. Are you ready now, Miss Bluestein? Now? Okay.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can introduce your
I just wanted to make sure y'all were ready.
Good deal. We're ready.
Okay. We'll go through. Lucas Grantham.
All right, Lucas.
Kevin Stevens. Zach Jackson. Jason Goldblatt. Drew Delmer.
All right.
Taylor Craig. Will Holland. Alex Dominguez. Conlon Walker. Boomer Dunn. Tyler Koenig. And Wesley James.
You know, that kid's got the same name that you got.
He does. We're not
Forrest
related, though.
Gump. It's like the Forrest Gump movie. Yeah. Well, we
Thank y'all
thank
very
y'all
much.
for.
We
Now,
appreciate your
they
support.
went as far as they could go.
That was as far as we could
Right,
go, correct.
right.
Yeah, next year we could go to the Southeast Regional. That's as far as we could go. And then 11 and 12 is when we could go to the Little League World Series.
This is the head of the whole thing. And,
This is the one that makes it all happen.
give you a second to say something.
Yeah, I want to thank the city and Steve and the crew for supporting us in the park this year. We couldn't have these games and teams if we didn't have these fields and the support. I can't thank BA and Boomer enough. I think they're such great role models for these boys. And the coaches that help support these guys and all these families. I mean, we had no drama. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, these are some great families, and they bond really well together, and I'm so proud to be part of this. So,
If the parents, will y'all stand up, or if your family members stand up? And, a lot of folks. All right.
thank you for having us.
Thank y'all very much. And guess what? Y'all don't have to stay.
Max, I'd like to say,
Congratulations.
Max, I'd like to say a word while they're
I
still
would
here.
let you stay, but ain't nobody gonna stay with me the waves like that right there.
Max, I'd like to say a word while they're still here. Hey, my kids have had the experience the last 4 years of playing in this league, and they are loving it. They don't want to do soccer anymore. They want to do baseball, so they're loving it. They've had the privilege of being where they've worked under some of the coaches in the room, and they've helped them a great deal. This is a great experience for every kid who engages the system in Smyrna, and I applaud all of you who have been supportive and who make it possible for these kids to learn the fundamentals of baseball and to have aspirations to achieve greatness. And thank you for what you all do as both parents and as coaches and as leaders and managers of the of Smyrna Little League. This is what makes it a great place to live, work, and play. We thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That concludes the mayor's report, and y'all don't have to stay if y'all want to stay, and if your kids need to be punished and time out. Thank y'all so much, though. Thank you, Coach Hubble. Jackson, is that you? Okay, as the kids are heading out, we will get into the item 4, which is land issues, zonings, and annexation. Item A, 2015-124. Let's go. Hubble, get them kids out of here. See you, Jackson. Zoning request Z15-002, rezoning the subject property for residential townhouse district, RTD, to general commercial for use of the property for commercial purposes, 5.039 acres, land lot 342, vacant landlocked property off South Cobb Drive at the terminus of Askey Drive. William L. Askey is the applicant. Mrs. Howard, will you please read the background, please?
Yes, the applicant is requesting a change in zoning for the subject property from residential townhome district to general commercial for commercial use. The applicant is proposing to develop the subject property in a similar fashion as the adjoining commercial property to the east. He is proposing a one metal building similar to the existing metal buildings along Askey Drive.
This is a public hearing. Is anyone here that's in opposition to or that would like to make any public comment concerning this zoning request? Let the record show there is no opposition. No one wants to speak. This is in Mrs. Susan Wilkinson's district. Ms. Wilkinson.
Yes, and at this time, I'd like to call Rusty from Community Development to give us a background.
Good evening. I'll give you a brief background. This item went before the Planning and Zoning Board on April 13th. They recommended approval by a vote of 7-0. This property doesn't have an address, but it's located at the terminus of Askey Drive, just off South Cobb Drive. It's approximately 5 acres in size, and the applicant is requesting to rezone this property from RTD, Residential Townhouse District, to general commercial. Mr. Askey owns the property that adjoins to the east, that's highlighted in red on the map above. And he is requesting to develop the site for use as a office / warehouse building. The current land use on the property is medium density residential. There is a requested land use change to community activity center to bring it in line with the community activity center area that Mr. Askey already owns right now. If you look at the future development map, the property at the northeast corner is community activity center, and everything to the west and south is medium density residential. Here's the proposed site plan. As you can see, he's going to build a building that's going to attach the existing parking lot and have its own parking area to support the property. I have shown on this map the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer. This property is bounded on the west and south side by streams, and this line delineates the 50-foot undisturbed buffer at that point. So there'll be no disturbing or grading or any kind of earthwork done in this area between this line and the property line. Here's another picture of the undisturbed area. This is just to highlight the amount of vegetation that will remain at a minimum, and just give you an idea. I know it's sort of tough to see. There's a red outline that goes along the property line. Here are pictures of the subject property and those vegetated areas, so you understand what kind of vegetation and screening there will be between the commercial property and the residential property. Here's the picture of the subject property where he plans to build that new building. Here's the adjacent properties. Community Development recommends approval of the proposed rezoning, subject to the provisions of the General Commercial Zoning District, and with the following condition. The following uses shall not be permitted on the subject parcel: adult entertainment establishments, ambulance services, animal hospital and veterinary clinics, art shows, carnival rides, special events, automobile, truck, and trailer leasing, automobile parts and tire stores, automobile and truck sales, automobile repair, major and minor repairs, automobile wash services, baseball batting cages, billiard parlor, boarding and breeding kennels, boat sales and repairs, bowling alley, carnivals and circuses, clubs and lodges, colleges and universities, day nurseries and kindergartens, drive-in restaurants, drive-in theater, emissions inspection station, farm equipment sales and services, fireworks sales, funeral homes, game arcades, golf driving range, gun shop, health care clubs, health spas, hospitals, house of worship, junkyards, landing area for rotary wing aircraft, linen and diaper services, lumber, hardware, and other building material sales establishments, massage parlor, mobile home and trailer sales, motorcycle sales and service, nursing and convalescent and rest homes, package store, parking lots, pawn shops and check cashing establishments, printing plants, schools, service stations, skating rinks, stations and terminals for buses and rail passenger service, target range, tattoo and body piercing parlors, taxi stands, theaters, wholesale establishments, and record services. Staff did check with the applicant to make sure they are agreeable to this list of prohibited uses, and they are. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is there anything left in general commercial that they can do?
There's a few uses.
Okay. Any questions? Rusty.
I have a question, Rusty, and maybe Eric would be better to speak to that, but about the compensatory transfer of the soil, and then I have a question for him too. Thanks.
Good evening. Good to see you all. Your question about compensatory fill is what?
Well, if you could just explain that process, and then I'll have a question when you get finished. Okay. Thank you.
Compensatory fill and cut refers to work within the floodplain. That's the 100-year floodplain as defined on the FEMA firm maps. And it's that area, if they wish to work within the floodplain area, the area between the floodplain elevation and the existing grade that they fill will have to be excavated with an equivalent volume elsewhere in the vicinity. And a site this size, they have plenty of room to do that. So that, by example, if they were building a building that was 50 by 100, and the floodplain elevation for this area is 930, if the existing grade where they want to put that building is 929, they would have to excavate an equivalent volume of 50 by 100 by 1 foot deep elsewhere on site from the existing grade down to provide that equivalent compensation. And this is something we'll check during the plan review. If it's not clear and clearly stated on the plans, on the construction permit plans, I will ask for that clarification from their engineer.
Okay, thank you. So I know a little bit, about this, the other rezoning where they had to have, well, you said they didn't have to have a letter of map revision, but they provided that for the build. So my question is, once they do the compensatory fill, where the building will go, will there be a letter of map revision?
Before they get their CO, we'll require that the engineer provide a no-rise certification, which is where the surveyor goes out, takes the as-built conditions, the engineer compares those volumes from existing to the proposed condition, confirms that equivalent volume was cut, and that no-rise certificate can then be submitted to FIRMA for a letter of map revision. It's not necessary for them to do that, but they can. It was necessary for the rezoning for the townhomes across the street because it was showing development within a floodplain. And they went out and said that, look, the grades aren't reflecting what the map is showing. They pointed that error out to FEMA. FEMA corrected their maps. So it was to their benefit to get the letter of map revision so that they wouldn't have to go through a compensatory cut exercise on that site. So it was to their benefit that they did that loamer.
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Yep. Any other questions?
Good job, Eric.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to move to deny the zoning request because I still have very concerns about putting over an acre of impervious surface in a floodplain, and I have concerns about the adverse effect that it'll have on the adjacent residential properties. When I calculated...
Before we get into that, we have got to hear from the applicant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cochran.
Yeah, this is a hearing. Yeah, and we need to have the hearing before we have the motion, so yeah.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I didn't see him from where I'm sitting, so I'm sorry.
Kevin Moore, who represents, I assume you represent the Askey family, if you'll come forward and identify yourself. And
can I get the site plan? That's all I need.
That's the site plan, right?
Yeah.
He'll do it when...
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Rusty. All right, well, thank you. And for the record, I'm Kevin Moore here on behalf of the applicant and owner, Mr. Bill Askey and his wife. They have owned this property since 1989 when they first purchased it. Mr. Askey, and you may be familiar with his existing development, which is a general commercial development of a small cluster of general commercial metal buildings. He also built the road called Askey Drive that comes off of South Cobb Drive. He has built and developed and managed and owned that for since its inception. This property was also purchased. It's just over 5 acres, though not built when he bought it in the late 80s. He's come forward now to have it rezoned. It's actually zoned, as the explanation was given, it's actually zoned for townhomes, though it's not accessible by any public road except through the existing commercial development, his own commercial development on Askey Drive to South Cobb Drive. It's not accessible to the adjacent townhome tracts. There's 2 tracts, and if the site plan can come up, there's one tract to the west that was separately developed as a townhome project, and a tract that was rezoned recently within the last year and is under construction for also townhomes. It's located to the south. In both instances, those separate townhome developments are separated by a stream. And so there's no crossing of that stream that's going to occur to access existing developments. So it can't be assembled with those. It certainly wouldn't be economically viable to cross the stream, to tear up the stream buffers that are already in place, to do so, even though this is zoned for townhomes. So it's not capable of access. It's not capable of assemblage with adjoining residential properties. In fact, the only property that it can be assembled with is his existing property. It's one that he's kept up. He's maintained very well. It's always been maintained in a very clean and sightly condition. You can even see from the pictures that even the vacant property that he hasn't developed on still looks very clean, looks very well maintained, and that's how he has maintained his project and his development since its inception as well. So in short, you have a 5-acre piece of property that's burdened by stream buffers, which Rusty showed you on the west and to the south, which completely buffer those adjoining residential projects. And in fact, when we had our planning commission hearing, we had a couple of individuals from those adjoining neighborhoods that came that wanted to find out, and we showed them on the map how they would be protected, and they were satisfied with that explanation because they saw how this property is burdened by those stream buffers. They knew that those are going to remain in place, remain untouched, remain undisturbed. Further, you can see even on the site plan how limited the site area is that's being proposed for development. It's basically about 20% of the site, maybe a little bit more, that's even going to be impacted by this development. The rest will largely remain untouched. Again, demonstrating that the real only feasible, viable manner to develop this property is to come through Askey Drive, an existing commercial piece, and build one single building that looks exactly like those others, built in a way and manner consistent with that. Mr. Askey has agreed to this list of prohibited uses that are otherwise permitted under general commercial in an effort to work with city concerns that have been expressed to us. It's just over 50 listed uses. The remaining uses, though, are ones that if you go to his current development there, they are ones that aren't like the ones that are listed here. They're nice office-type, warehouse-type uses, things that don't necessarily need a storefront, but a great place for somebody to have a business, to have a clean business, to have a shop in the back underneath the warehouse where they can store items, a surveyor's office, for example, where they can do their work and do so in a clean environment and situation. In this instance, this property, zoned currently as a townhome property, simply holds the world together. It doesn't provide any other benefit, does not provide any benefit to the city, does not provide any benefit to the city tax base or the county tax base, but allowing this type of development, which is of minimal impact to the surrounding area, which utilizes its only existing access to a public road, is the only feasible manner to develop this property. We think that given what has been agreed to here, we certainly mitigated any of the concerns. As Mr. Randall explained, the method of development is commonly accepted as a method of development. There's plenty of room here to do that. It's engineered, certified, and reviewed both by Mr. Askey's engineer and will be engineered and be reviewed by the city's engineer department. This is common development techniques that occur all over. With that, we believe it's good zoning. We believe it's appropriate development and would hope for your positive vote and approval of the rezoning request. And I'm here to answer any questions that I might be able to do so. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions of Mr. Moore?
I do.
Mr. Welch?
Mr. Moore, your client's comfortable with this list of restrictions?
He is. These aren't the types of uses he wants there regardless, so he's comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you.
And just the P&Z board did approve this. Staff recommends this. That's correct.
Correct.
Any other questions of Mr. Moore? Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, we apologize for. I saw you
I
the whole time.
apologize too.
Yeah.
I apologize. Okay, so one thing I would like to comment on is during the P&Z meeting, when the recommendation was made, they did not have all the factual information. Eric Randall, our city engineer, had not given a report on that information, and nor did the board or the citizens that came understand that the building and the parking lot was going to be in floodplain, and like I said, I have from my research and investigation, I have concerns about the impact on the surrounding residential townhomes. There is an existing townhome complex there, Westfield Trace, that backs up to the floodplain, as well as the new development. And right now, where the commercial development is, it actually just backs up to existing Primrose Daycare, which is another commercial development. But when this is developed, even though it does front, let's see, I think it's 383 feet of commercial area. The residential area that it backs up to is more like over 1,700 feet, linear feet. And I just have concerns about the adverse impact with the residential areas. And then with my research and investigation, I'm uncomfortable with putting, I think it's over an acre of impervious surface on this 5 acres of wetlands. So.
Are there any other questions or comments?
So I move to make the motion. I've already done that, but do I do it again?
No, your other motion, there's no motion on the table right now.
Okay. So I've already made the motion.
No, you haven't made a motion.
Okay.
That's what I said. No, the other motion was ineffective because it was before there was a hearing.
Okay. I move to deny this zoning request item. Is it, I'm sorry, what number is it?
2015.
Oh, I see that. Okay, 4A 2015-124 for the zoning request for Z15-002. This is for the rezoning of the subject property from residential townhouse district to general commercial for the use of the property for commercial purposes. 5.039 acres, land lot 342, vacant land lot property off of South Cobb Drive at the terminus of SK Drive.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. I just want to say, I don't know that I've ever seen a zoning where the motion was made before the hearing was even over, and that really worries me that the applicant never even got a chance to even present his side of the story. And I hope that the decision to deny was already decided before this hearing, because that is very that's a dangerous thing to do. We have to hear all the evidence before you make a decision. We have a motion and a second to deny. All those in favor of the motion, please vote.
Withdraw vote.
It's a new screen. 4-2 to not to approve, right? Okay, and that fails.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to
Yes.
make a motion to approve.
Motion second to approve.
Conditions of staff.
All those
As
in favor,
recommended.
all those in favor of the motion. That's to approve. That's approved 4-2. Okay. Approved 42. Thank you very much. Item number 4B is 2015-186, public hearing zoning request, Z15-011, rezoning from R15 to RAD conditional for the construction of 3 new single-family homes at 0.668 acre. Land lots 560, 1498 Walker Street, Georgia. Fine Properties. Applicant here. Okay, if you please step this way. Miss Tony Jo Howard, the background, please.
Yes, Georgian Fine Properties LLC is requesting this rezoning for the construction of 3 new single-family homes at a density of 4.49 units per acre. Staff does recommend approval.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that's in opposition to, or that would like to make any public comment concerning this rezoning request? Let the record show there is none. This is in Mrs. Nulowich's ward, but Mr. Fennell is going to handle that for her. Mr. Fennell.
Thank you. I'd like staff to come forward to present the case. Mr. Martin, please.
Good evening. This rezoning case was heard by the Planning and Zoning Board at the the June 8th meeting, and was recommended for approval by a vote of 7-0. The property location is 1498 Walker Street. It's currently zoned R15. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to RAD conditional for the construction of 3 single-family homes. They'll demo the existing single-family home and accessory structures. The contiguous zoning, as reflected on the zoning map, is R15 to the north, east, and south, and west, and RAD to the northwest. The future land use designation for the property is moderate density residential, which is under 4.5 units per acre. The proposed density for the 3 homes is 4.49 units, so it's under that requirement, and it meets the comprehensive guidelines for this area. The whole area surrounding this property has a moderate density residential land use classification, so there'll be no change in that land use category. Here's the proposed site plan. They've got a front setback of 25 feet, side setback of 10, and a rear of 40 as reflected on this site plan. These boxes are the stormwater management facilities that are outlined for each development. Here's a drainage swale that will also help with stormwater management, and then a pipe to convey it back to the city system. This is a proposed home elevation. This is a conceptual plan. I'm sure he'll have a few other different kind of elevations. Here's a picture of the subject property and pictures of adjoining properties. Community Development recommends approval of the requested zoning from R15 to RAD conditional for 3 new single-family homes at a density of 4.49 units per acre with the following conditions. Number 1, the composition of the homes in the residential subdivision shall include a mixture of elements, including but not limited to brick, stone, shake, hardy plank, and stucco. Number 2, the detention pond shall be placed and screened appropriately to be unobtrusive to homes inside and outside the development. Number 3, all utilities within the development shall be underground. Number 4, the developer shall be responsible for any traffic improvements deemed necessary by the city engineer. Number 5, no debris may be buried on any lot or common area. Number 6, the developer will comply with the city's current tree ordinance. Number 7, all landscape plans must be prepared by a Georgia registered landscape architect. Number 8, all common areas are to be sodded and landscaped. Number 9 is a replanting schedule for each lot. Special condition number 10, the development shall maintain the following minimum setbacks: a front setback of 25 feet, side setback of 7.5 feet, and a rear setback of 40. Number 11, the minimum driveway length should be 22 feet, and that's measured from building face to back of sidewalk. Number 12, the development shall be developed with a minimum lot size of 9,400 square feet. Number 13, the rights-of-way along Walker Street shall be increased to 50 feet. Therefore, a dedication of approximately 10 feet is required along the right-of-way. Number 14, the developer shall provide a 5-foot sidewalk with a 2-foot grass buffer along Walker Street for the length of the development. Number 15, all trees within the limits of disturbance and not located within a tree protection area must be removed during a land clearing and grading phase of the development. Number 16, the developer will be required to install a sanitary sewer main extension in Walker Street to serve all lots within the development. Number 17, the development is conditioned upon the site plan provided. And number 18, the applicant shall be bound to the building elevation submitted with the rezoning application. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
You have any questions of Mr. Martin?
Rusty, do you have any idea what these homes, a price point or anything?
That'd be a better question for the applicant. That'd be a better question for the applicant. That's not a criteria for review.
I was just curious because I noticed that it had 5 bedrooms and a 2-car garage, and it was quite a large house for, the money, I would assume.
Well, if anybody has no questions for the for Mr. Martin, I think the applicant's here and could address those.
Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Scott, does he need to be sworn in?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to swear you in.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
State your name for the record, if you don't mind.
My name's Ryan Jacobs. I'm with Georgian Fine Properties.
About how much square footage are these homes?
You know, they'll probably range in square footage of anywhere from 2,700 to 3,000 square feet.
Okay. Did you have just a general price range on them?
You know, they can range anywhere from $475 to just over $500,000.
Why don't you just, I'm sorry, you just do your presentation and then tell us what you're doing and who you are, and we sort of just jumped on you all of a sudden, but
sure, no problem.
Yeah.
My name is Ryan Jacobs. I'm with Georgian Fine Properties. I actually live at 1481 Walker Street, right across the street. And we're proposing on, obviously removing the existing house on the property and building 3 new houses. It's a very good sized property. The property will actually, once the houses are built, will probably have the nicest backyards in all the neighborhood, very deep lots, great for families. That's pretty much about it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to
I like
answer
the
them.
design. It's a nice design.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, I did see the floor plans with one elevation. Will there be variations of that one elevation, or will it be different? Or
Every single house will be different.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely make all the floor plans will be different. All the elevations will be different. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, for marketing in today's market, it's wise for us also to, keep a good variation so they don't look alike.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Jacobs, you've obviously built homes before. Can you tell us a little bit about your company? And
Yeah. So I'm actually 3rd generation. My family's been building for about 66 years. My grandfather started in Washington, D.C. and Maryland area. My uncle and my father moved to the Atlanta area and started home building probably 47 years ago. And I now work with my uncle and my cousin, and we're continuing on the family tradition.
We appreciate you choosing Smyrna not just to live, but a place to do business.
Absolutely.
As well.
Thank you.
Maryland. Go Terps or something. Well, what is a Terp?
I don't know.
Any other questions?
Real quickly, you say you live 1481, I think you said.
Yeah.
Is that a couple of houses down?
It's diagonally across the street.
Okay. How long have you been there?
This will be going on my 4th year.
Okay, so you're there for a duration. You're not hopping houses as you build them or anything.
No.
Okay.
I'm actually considering, possibly building one of these for myself.
Okay.
Possibly.
Oh, so you're leaving?
Moving across the street.
A hop across the street.
Thank you very much.
Need that big backyard.
Any other questions? Mr. Fillon?
Mr. Mayor, with that, I appreciate the applicant and the presentation and the review of staff and the P&Z, and I hereby move approval of Z15011, rezoning from R15 to RAD conditional for the construction of 3 new single-family homes, 0.66 acres, land lot 560, 1498 Walker Street for Georgia Fine Properties, LLC.
Have a motion and a second to approve this request. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. That's approved 6-0. Item 5 is privilege licenses. A is 2015-211. Public hearing privilege license request 2015-211 beer, wine, and liquor pouring, 2772 Cumberland Boulevard. AKSM LLC, doing business, or DBA, Bollywood Zing Indian Restaurant with Celise Mahaka, or somebody, as agent. Is the applicant here? This is the Bollywood Zing Indian Restaurant. If they're not here, this is a privilege license, a public hearing. Do we?
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to move this to the next meeting. I thought they were going to be here tonight because I talked with Jim Cox and he said they planned on being here. So I don't know if they got their dates mixed up or not. But they bought and are buying the Indian restaurant that's in the H.H. Gregg Shopping Center.
You gonna make a motion to table then until?
Yes.
And that next meeting will be August the 2nd. Is that correct?
Okay.
August 3rd. Okay, August 3rd. Is that your motion? Okay.
With regards to item number 2015-211, public hearing privilege license request 2015-211, beer, wine, and liquor pouring, 2772 Cumberland Boulevard, AKSM LLC, doing business as Bollywood Zing Indian Restaurant, with Miss Makhajani as the agent.
Second.
Let's going to table this till August 3rd.
To table it to August 3rd.
All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 6-0. Item 5B under privilege licenses, 2015-219. Public hearing privilege license request, 2015-219 beer, wine, retail pouring at 1651 Gersha's Ethiopian Cuisine with Jeanette Tahina as the agents. Are they here? Is the applicant here? They are not here. This is in Ms. Anulowich's district. Mr. Finley, will you please, I guess, table that? I'm sorry, Mr. Welch.
Yeah, I would, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to table this issue to the August 3rd meeting, item 2015-219, public hearing, privilege license request for 2015-219 beer, wine, retail pouring at 1651 Roswell Street for the Gersha Ethiopian Cuisine for Miss Jeanette Tiaya as agent.
Second.
Have a motion second to table this to August the 3rd. All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 6-0. Item 6 is formal business. A is 2015-216, adoption of the 2015 millage rate of 8.99 mils. Ms. Howard, the background, please.
Yes, this 2015 millage rate needs to be formally adopted by council. This was the millage rate that was used in the revenue projections for the FY16 budget that council did approve. This is the same millage rate that the city has maintained since 2006.
Ms. Melanie Pritchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to ask our attorney, Scott Cochran, to address this issue because there's some legal issues that we have to deal with our millage rate. So, Mr. Cochran, if you would explain that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Are you talking about the rollback issue?
Yes.
Yeah. The state law requires the local governments to advertise a tax increase if the tax digest rises in such a way that the and that the millage rate is not reduced to offset the tax digest rising, if that makes sense. So in this situation, because the economy is finally turning around, properties in Smyrna are getting more valuable, and so there's the tax digest is more. It's a little bit deceiving and not quite accurate in Smyrna because we've got this homestead exemption, so which basically says that if you live in your home and it's owner occupied as opposed to a rental unit, that there is as far as city tax purposes, there is a floating homestead exemption that offsets the increase in the reassessment. So for single owner occupied residences, there is no tax increase, even unless there's a millage rate increase. This is something that came, I think, that this kind of confusion came from several administrations ago in the governor's office, where somebody ran on the platform that will make these local governments say they're giving tax increases if their digest increases, and they don't roll back their millage rate to offset that. But in Smyrna, for residences, we offset it another way, and that's by this floating homestead exemption rate. So that's about as simple as I can make the property tax code. Sorry.
That's okay. I think that Ms. Howard had said we've been doing this since 2006. Well, it actually goes back further than that. I think it's about 20 to 25 years that we have not changed our millage rate. And with what Mr. Conklin said, you can see why I asked him to explain it, because it's quite involved. With that, I would like to make a motion to adopt our 2015 millage rate of 8.99 mils.
Second.
We have a motion second to set the millage rate at 8.99 mils. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. Approved 6-0. Item B, under formal business 2015-225, approval of the joint use agreement between the City of Smyrna and the Cobb County Board for use in the athletic fields at Smyrna Elementary School. Ms. Howard, the background, please.
Yes, city staff has been working with the Cobb County School District to develop this joint use agreement for use of the athletic field next to Smyrna Elementary School. The agreement allows for the city and sports leagues to use the field after 6 p.m. until dark during the weekdays of the academic school year, and the city also has use of the field between the end of each academic year and the beginning of the next academic year. The agreement's for 5 years and shall automatically renew for an additional 5 years at the end of the first term and each subsequent term. In regards to the maintenance of the property, the board is responsible for mowing the grass, and city assists with the trash receptacles and locking the fields.
Ms. Susan Wilkinson.
Yes. Should I ask Mr. Ciaccio to come comment on it, or?
Is he even here?
I thought I saw him a minute ago.
He just stepped out next.
Okay. Well, it's a joint use. Can I just say that we have several joint use agreements with the school system and the our community in using the fields, and this is just another agreement with the new field there near the Smyrna Elementary School. And at this time, I would make a move to approve item 6B, 2015-225, approval of the joint use agreement between the City of Smyrna and Cobb County School Board for the use of the athletic field at Smyrna Elementary School.
Second.
A motion is second to approve this joint use agreement. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 6-0. Item 6C, 2015-239, approval of adjustment paid to Georgia Municipal Association in the amount of $1,602,911.83 to the defined benefit plan, and authorize mayor to sign any related documents. Ms. Attorney Joe Howard, the background, please.
Yes, as a result of an internal audit of retiree benefit calculations conducted by the city, outside auditors, and GMA, several retiree accounts were identified as receiving incorrect benefit payments. This has required the city to make an adjustment payment to the plan to cover the under and overpayment plus interest due to the affected retirees and to the plan.
This is under Mr. Wade Lenica, Chairman of Human Resources.
Thank you, Your Honor. We spent a couple years now, a lot of staff time trying to ensure that our benefits payments to our retirees are accurate and precise down to the penny. There was some concern expressed a number of years ago, and this goes back many years ago, that the benefit calculations were not being done correctly. Staff has gone through a lot of research and work on this. They've pulled out old payroll records, some in written form, some in electronic form, some on tape systems used in the past, and gone back and hunted down individual payroll information for retirees year by year by year. And the net result is, and this was seconded by the Georgia Municipal Association, who kind of owns our retirement system, if you will. We work with them to manage it, and the checks are issued by them. The conclusion is that the city should pay an additional $1.6 million in round numbers to the retirement system to make up for some shortfalls. There were also some overpayments discovered. We don't plan to ask any of our retirees for that money back. The error was, if there was an error, and that's debatable, but the error wasn't the fault of the employees, the retirees. It was entirely on the city. The checks going forward, starting with the ones for August, will be correct based on the newly calculated amounts. And I think for those who were overpaid, the differences are not terribly significant, but you know, everything is significant if it involves you. So our Human Resources Department will write each of the retirees, explain the situation. For those who were overpaid, and we'll see a slight reduction, they will attempt to call them and make personal contact to explain this. I'm sure staff will be happy to meet with any retiree that has questions, but it gets down to the city needs to do the right thing and honor its obligations to those employees who have worked for the city for many, many, many years. And some of them have been retired for many, many years. Even in the case of some deceased employees, we'll work to locate their estate and see if the estate is still open and if those payments can be made to the estate. You know, you hate to say you got to pay out $1.6 million for anything, but on the flip side, I am very pleased that this mayor and council is united in saying we need to do the right thing. Now, we spent several years trying to figure out what that meant and calculating it. Again, the payment's down to the penny. It's gone through legal review. It's gone through actuarial review. It's been reviewed by us as the board for our pension system. It's been reviewed by the GMEBS board at GMA, who, again, is the trustee and oversees and handles our pension benefits. It's been taught back and forth. The numbers have been crunched and recrunched and crunched again, and I'm satisfied that we've arrived at the right conclusion. So, again, it's a difficult situation to say, you know, we need to pay an additional $1.6 million into our retirement, but on a positive side, this council for a number of years has set aside more than the minimum requirement to fund our retirement obligations. And that's something I personally have pushed very strongly. I don't want Smyrna to fund the minimum retirement obligation. We've all heard about cities and counties and companies across the U.S. that got in financial trouble and suddenly they couldn't pay their retirees their obligations. Smyrna is very well funded in that regard. We're in probably the mid 80 percentile range of having current funds for all of our future obligations. And that's certainly above average, certainly way above average in the corporate world, based on my experience. And from what I've heard, above average in the municipal government world. You know, I'd like to see us continue to increase that funding and do everything that we can as the board here locally for our retirement system, that this mayor and council continue to fully fund our retirement obligations and pay a little additional to make sure that if we have another great recession, if for any reason we had difficulty with payments, that we we wouldn't take that out on our retirees. We'd make sure they were protected. So the issue before us tonight is to approve this adjustment payment to the Georgia Municipal Association in the amount of $1,602,911.83 to the defined benefit plan, and authorize the mayor to sign any related documents pertaining to such. I so move.
Second.
Have a motion and second to pay the Georgia Municipal Association the amount of $1,600,911.83 to our defined benefit plan. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 6-0. Item D, approval of extended work hours for Jonquil Village redevelopment project, 12.62 acres, land lot 559 and 594, northeast corner of the intersection of Atlanta Road and Spring Road. Plateau Excavation, Inc. Ms. Tony Jo Howard, the background, please.
Yes, Plateau Excavation, Inc. is requesting the extension of normal work hours on Saturdays so that they can keep this project on schedule. They're requesting the hours to be extended Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and this would go through September 2015.
That is Ms. Melanie Pritchett. Is that correct? Yes, Ms. Pritchett.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Howard has so accurately stated that I don't have anything I need to say about that. I'll make a motion that 2015-333 be approved to extend the work hours for the Jonquil Village redevelopment project, 12.62 acres, land lots 559 and 594, northeast corner of the intersection of Atlanta Road and Spring Road, Plateau Excavation, Inc. So moved.
Give those hours, I'm sorry, Ms. Pritchett, those hours were?
Oh, I'm sorry, 7 to 6. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Second.
Motion is second to extend those working hours 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
On Saturday, right? Okay. Any other discussion? All those,
yep. I'm not going to support this motion. I'm for the extending hours, but I'd like to see them start at 8 o'clock in the morning instead of 7. But for that reason, I'm not going to support it. And I don't think there's anybody here from the Plateau.
Is there anybody here from the neighborhood, surrounding neighborhoods? It's not a public. Go ahead.
Okay, that's really all I had to say. I just wanted everybody to understand. I want them to finish this project. I want them to get finished with it, and I would extend them an hour later, but I'd like for them to start at 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock in the morning. Just, I know I'm not a late sleeper, but some Saturday mornings I sleep beyond 7. So that's all I have to say.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 4-2. Thank you very much. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. No, it's
Do what? I say. Oh, it was voted down. I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I move.
It did not pass.
It did not. Yeah.
I move we do the hours at 8 a.m.
Second.
to 7 p.m. Just move the hour 1 hour later each way.
Okay. I second that motion.
Motion second to change it to 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
The 7.
7.
We're still giving them 2 hours, but we're doing it an hour later and for both sides.
It's 8 to 7, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. That's approved 6-1. 6-0. Item 6C, formal business, is 2015-241. Vote on whether to begin the process to amend the charter to increase the salaries for subsequent city elected officials. Ms. Howard, the background, please.
Yes, the change in salary for elected official has to be done by a charter amendment. The amendment, if approved, would not affect the current mayor and council salaries, but it starts in January 2016 with the new council.
Mr. Wade Lennox, who chairs the Human Resources Committee.
I'm not sure where the council is on this, and so I want to defer discussion to my fellow council members.
Are you going to make a motion or just order for us to discuss it?
All right, I'll make a motion for discussion. A vote to begin the process to amend the charter to increase salaries for the next council coming on duty in 2016 per the proposal in our agenda.
We have a motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Wilkerson. Now discussion.
I'll bring up an item here. Mayor, to give a little bit of background on this was brought up a couple months ago, and it was suggested that we get the salaries of our surrounding neighbors. And after looking at the salaries of our fellow councilmen in the area, we are well compensated for what we do, in my opinion. So I'm not going to support a raise. We are actually right there with every other city in Roswell, Sandy Springs. Smyrna's right with them, within $700, $800, $900 of all three of them. Cities of our size. With that being said, I'm going to vote to keep our salary where it is.
Any other comments, Mr. Fillmore?
I would just differ slightly with Mr. Welch's characterization that we're well paid for what we do. I think if you calculated it by the hour, we may be in the minimum wage category, but I do think that coming into this, it is a public service that we take on these responsibilities, and I've looked at it like that in my various public service endeavors, and so the compensation is not a determinant for me. I realize others may find it to be more important because I have been so blessed, but I do believe that at this juncture, based on the information that we've obtained through a preliminary study of the salary and benefits from our Metro Atlanta compatriots who do this type of work too, that at this point I'd decline supporting an increase in pay as well.
Anyone else? I'll just say this, looking at the benefit study, Smyrna is the highest paid council. Council salaries are the highest of Sandy Springs, Roswell, Johns Creek, Alpharetta, Marion, Kennesaw, Woodstock, Canton, Ackworth, Powder Springs, and Austell.
Some of those cities are smaller than Smyrna.
I'm just saying that the salaries, the council salaries are the highest. I don't think there's a need to increase salaries for the mayor or the council. I think we're good.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whether you do or you don't, it doesn't really matter. We only have been, four of us here have only been in office for 3.5 years, and we're up for re-election this year. I would hate to see on a local level it get as bad as it is on a national level or the legislature, to where you have to have gazillions in order to participate, otherwise you can't participate. I don't take benefits, so I don't use the insurance or anything like that, so I'm just not sure. It's become a hot button issue right now, and I probably won't support it, but it is a hot button issue.
Anyone else? Mr. Lonico?
I would just echo a little bit of what Ms. Bluestein said. Every person who runs for elected office comes from a different background in terms of their personal financial situation. Some are more blessed and have more freedom financially than others. When I first came on this council, I was at that time the only council member with a college degree. The council was predominantly working class people, blue collar workers. When they take time off to do city business, generally speaking, lose salary. It's very difficult for them. They depend upon the city to make up some of that. All of us should be doing it for one reason and one reason only, and that is service. None of us should be doing it for personal financial gain. But, you know, for those of us who have the freedom to do with less, you know, from a government salary, there are those in the community who would like to serve but would depend on that salary to make up losses in their civilian salary. It does have a potential, if we don't keep our salaries competitive in the market, to create a situation where only an elite group of financially well-off or retired people are able to serve. And if we want a representative government of all the people, of all the different kinds of people and all the different classes, then we need to make sure that we provide the means for them to serve. Otherwise, in effect, you end up shutting them out financially. So I'm not here to argue for anything because I want, you know, a bigger salary next year. It's very debatable in this community whether I'll be back next year. But I've served on 7 councils so far. 6 of them voted to increase the pay for the next council so that in their minds they could do the right thing to ensure that people that came to Smyrna and who had the desire to serve could receive adequate compensation for that. I would also predict that during the term of the next council, whoever's on it, that Smyrna will become the largest city in Cobb County. There are other councils who are paid more than us. Decatur is probably an extravagant example of that, in my opinion. But when you look at salary, you've got to look at everything. You've got to look at benefits. You've got to look at cities like Marietta that pay expense accounts, which we don't have. You've got to look at how many council meetings a month does that city have. Marietta has 1. We have 2. And all those other kinds of factors that get into sort of the total picture. So again, I'm going to vote in support of my motion because over the years, the salary that this current council gets today was based on the courage of the previous councils to step forward and make this salary available to those who would follow them. And oftentimes, as was remarked earlier, we've got 4 new members on this council. The only time in that 7 terms that I've been on council that we didn't increase the council pay for the next council was during the Great Recession, when city employees were not getting pay raises, and the council said we're not going to move to enact pay raises for the next council while the city employees aren't getting pay raises. Absolutely the right decision. That was a unanimous vote. It's never really been a political issue in Smyrna in all the elections that I've been in, and I've been in more than anybody else on the council, second only to the mayor. So I just make those, not arguments, but express those thoughts so that citizens in their own mind can evaluate what they think is right or wrong. And each of the council members, I'm sure, will vote their conscience, and whatever they do, we'll support and live with.
Any other comments? All right. We have a motion second to approve this increase. All those in favor of the motion, please vote. That's denied 4-2 with Ms. Wilkinson and Mr. Lenico in favor. So now I need a motion. This did not pass 4-2. So now I need do we need a well, we don't need a motion, do we? Because it doesn't go any further. Okay. All right. So that will not, we will not begin the process. Okay. Item 7, commercial building permits. We have none. Item 8 is consent agenda. Ms. Howard, will you please read the consent agenda for council's approval?
Yes, we have item 2015-231, approval of mayor and council meeting minutes for July 6, 2015. Item 2015-232, 215, award RFP 15-045, paving projects to the lowest bidder, CW Matthews Contracting Company, for $1,216,695.16, and authorize the mayor to execute any related documents. Item 2015-224, award bid to Sears Pool Management Consultants, RFP 15-046, Wolf Center Therapy Pool Replastering, in the amount of $20,982. This is a SPLOST-funded project. Item 2015-232, approval of the FY15 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant for criminal investigation software and employee workout equipment for the wellness program. The amount of $14,036 awarded to the Smyrna Police Department. Item 2015-229, authorize permit for Atkins Park Tavern Beer Trailer for the Smyrna birthday celebration on August 1st, 2015. Item 2015-240, approval to change precinct boundary and polling location for Smyrna's 7A, Griffin Middle School, and 7B, Life Church, Smyrna Assembly of God, to be combined to one precinct voting location at Life Church, Smyrna Assembly of God. Griffin Middle School will no longer be a precinct polling location. And item 2015-234, approval to use council chambers on Wednesday, August 12, 2015, from 7 to 9 p.m. for the Smyrna Arts and Cultural Council first annual meeting.
Do you have a motion we approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor of the motion, please vote.
I'm sorry.
It's approved 6-0. Something to know, well, I know we just voted on it, but that does eliminate the polling place for Griffin Middle School in 7, right?
Well, actually, Ward 7 will have no polling place in it at all, whether or not it was Griffin or Life Church, because both of those locations will be not in Ward 7. There will be no location in Ward 7. We can correct that down the road if we had parking at Fire Station 5 or we add something in another location, but I'm okay with it at the moment. Thank you, sir.
Let's see. Stand by. Committee reports will start tonight with Miss Melanie Pritchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know, I can't seem to get my throat clear. Our vision process is moving along really fast with the, we just approved the meeting on August 12th for Bill Marchione, who has the Smyrna Council Arts and Culture Council, and they're going to have a meeting here on August the 12th. So if you're interested in finding out about the group and seeing if you might want to be here, the meeting is going to be at 7 o'clock in the council chambers on August 12th, and Mr. Marchione will be conducting that meeting, and the mayor will speak and have a few words to say. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I will yield.
Ms. Andrea Bluestein.
Mr. Sudworth, I think you have a report for us.
Very quick. It's the same old, same old. Just to give you some numbers on that, we issued 17 new single-family permits in May. We actually issued 22 in June. We actually conducted more inspections in May than in June, but both of those numbers are over 1,100 inspections. And we also visited over 350 sites. Not different sites, but we went back to, because of the staging of inspections, but we went out basically over 350 times each of the last 2 months. Those are high numbers for us. Those are numbers that are starting to approach the pre-2008 numbers in terms of inspections on a monthly basis. So I do feel like July will be a little bit lower. I think the next month's report, just because it's July, it's summertime, there are a lot of vacations. It's pretty normal that things slow down during this month. But May and June were very good for us.
I was just going to comment ever so briefly on the homes right now, or condos, or whatever it is you're selling. They are selling like hotcakes. I mean, I have listed 2 different condominiums at Country Park where I live, and I've sold them within about 5. I've had them on paper within about 5 days. So, and if you're thinking about moving, now is a great time to do it. You're getting a decent price. If you are looking to buy, good luck, because you have to really watch it depending on what area you're looking in, because some areas either they don't go on the market because they're sold, somebody's seen it and has investigated and bought it before it ever went on market, or it's sold within the first day. So, but it's great for Smyrna. And it's some of these, I have to laugh, some of these people that are buying are those pesky little millennials who didn't want to settle down. Well, now they get to be 25, 26, and they've decided, I can't pay apartment rent anymore. So they're buying a lot. So anyway, hopefully we can continue this because it's really turned the market around in this area. And with that, I yield.
Mr. Corky Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to call on Miss Ann Kirk to talk to us a little bit about Smyrna Recycling and keep Smyrna beautiful.
Thank you, Councilman Welch. We had our first Adopt-A-Mile this weekend at the new recycling center, and although change is always a challenge, it went very, very well. We had 102 volunteers who worked for 277 hours. They collected 79 bags of litter, and they cleaned 32 miles of Smyrna's roadway in about 2 hours' time. So that went very, very well. We were very pleased. I'd like to let everyone know that we confirmed a shredding event date for September the 26th at the Eileen Wolf Center. This will be free document shredding, and it will be from 9 until noon. And Iron Mountain Document Shredding Services are providing the free shredding for us. And finally, don't miss out on the Fresh Market Saturdays at 8 a.m. until noon. We had 600 people at the last market, and we've had great produce. We have the real tomatoes, as my family used to call them, and they sell out very quickly. So if you want to come, don't waste time. Get up and get the best selection early in the morning. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann. Call on Mr. Scott Stokes of Public Works to give us a report on what's going on at the Public Works Department.
Concord Road update. Of course, the project is well over substantially complete. We completed the enormous punch list on the roadway this week, and I issued last week, and issued the punch list to the contractor. It was 160 items that the contractor needs to take care of. Our Windy Hill Road, Atlanta Road SPLOST project, it's kind of delayed. We had to do a little pipe rearrangement to avoid conflicts with some existing utilities out there. Last week, some soil samples were at least taken for some of the retaining walls that need to be put in for the project. Our Gann Road storm sewer, we were hoping to have that roadway open by the start date of school, but contractor seems to be about a week behind on that, so the roadway will still be closed the first week of school. Realistically, the contractor hopefully next week will start backfilling the culvert. The culvert's finished other than the head walls. The head walls will be finished this week, and they can start backfilling the culvert. Our Belmont Hills sanitary sewer rehab, that punch list was issued. They had 80 items that they need to correct for the city. Lake Court Park building, that's one of our last parks buildings to be painted. Contractor hasn't shown up for a few weeks, so we pulled his PO and issued it to another contractor. We started a curb replacement project on Howell Drive. It's about 30% complete. Restrooms over at the Cobb Middle School Park. We had some work to do to some of the restrooms for some of the ball teams that play there. That work's underway and probably be finished by the end of the week. I think Cobb County Schools is also doing some needed work to the stadia area. We had a pre-construction meeting today with the contractor for the bid that was awarded tonight for the last of the 2007 SPLOST paving. The contractor should start that work next week and finish by the end of August. Project scheduled. Right now we've got a schedule to do some water main replacement on South Cobb Drive, basically from Concord Road to Wisteria Lane. Currently we have a water main that's in the middle of the road of South Cobb at that location or that distance, and we want to move it out of the roadway since we've had issues with that piece of water main. We've issued a purchase order to TV and Clean, 52,000 linear feet of sewer main. Contractor should start on it either next week or the week after. And we've started some water main leak detection in the Vinings Estates neighborhood, doing a little audit on some of our water usage in that area. It seems like we may have a leak in that area, so we're doing water main detection in that entire neighborhood. Currently out for design, we have a stormwater project on Hickory Acres Drive. We have a sanitary sewer outfall design project that's being designed on Powder Springs Road. Our sub-basin number 1 sanitary outfall sewer that has been hydraulically calculated, and the design work's happening on that project. Antler Trail, we have a sanitary sewer outfall work that's being designed. Lake Drive at Magnolia, we have a storm sewer project. Fox Creek Golf Course, we have 2 storm sewer projects that are being designed there. Hickory Hill, we have a storm and a sanitary sewer replacement project design. Lower Street, we have a storm drain design. Lake Drive at Brentwood, a storm drain design. King Springs Road at Kingsview, we have a storm sewer project in that area. Walker Court near Morris Circle, also storm drainage. Doskin Lane and Pat Melrose, both storm drainage. And then currently out for bid is Village Parkway multi-use trail from Spring Road to Windy Hill Road.
Scott, I'm going to ask you, and I'm not trying to blindside you, but I just thought about this. Have we completed the lighting for the dog park on Lake Drive yet?
Complete.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Stokes, I appreciate all the work that is going on in Ward 7, particularly, that underground stuff that nobody ever gets to appreciate fully. But upon the completion of the road work in Vinings Estates and your work on trying to find that leak, and I appreciate your diligence on that, but I had several residents ask me about the striping of the road after it's now completed, and I know you mentioned to me it's in the queue. I just wanted to be able to update.
It's in the queue. We had to go back on some aerial photography to see if there was actual stripes there to begin with. Some of that area did not have striping.
Right.
Typically, we don't stripe a road that's under 25 miles per hour or under. There is some gore area around the south end of the entrance area.
Yeah, and some at the main entrance too.
Right.
So there's not much, but they were asking after the pavement if there was to be a stripe, and as you evaluate that, I know
there is some in the queue, but maybe not as much as they thought.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Miss Susan Wilkinson.
Okay, I'd like to call Mary Moore from the Smyrna Library to give us a report.
Hi, good evening. This is the last week of the summer reading program. So far, our Smyrna readers have logged over 400,000 minutes of reading. So please come on down to Youth Services Desk this week and collect your prizes. And join us for the summer wrap-up celebration this Saturday, July 25th from 11 to 1. We'll have superhero activities and free ice cream provided by the Friends of Smyrna Library. Starting tomorrow, Tuesday, July 21st, Smyrna Library cardholders will be able to check out up to 7 DVDs at a time. Up to this point, they've been able to check out 5, but we've really worked on beefing up our collection over the past 3 years, and so we feel like we can accommodate the extra activity. Not only do we have new releases and lots of TV shows, we have a lot of favorites from previous decades, as well as a lot of family and children's titles that we've been buying recently, and we also have a very respectable foreign film collection. So I invite everybody to come down and check it out. On Sunday, August 2, the Friends of Smyrna Library will hold their monthly First Sunday lecture with another segment of the World War II commemorative series. We will screen the short film, The Return of the Violin. The film depicts the famous violinist Bronislaw Uberman and his struggle to save Jewish musicians from the Nazis. A discussion will follow the film, which starts at 3 p.m. on August 2 in the library meeting room. The library will have a bit of an irregular schedule the first week of August. We will close at 2 p.m. on Saturday, August 1st for the birthday celebration, and we will be closed Wednesday, August 5th, Thursday, August 6th, and Friday, August 7th for our repaving of our parking lot, which we're thrilled about. We're going to take advantage of that closing time to also do a whole bunch of interior projects, maintenance projects as well. The CobbWorks Mobile Career Center, which visits us every Wednesday in our parking lot, will visit anyway. Even though we'll be closed, they will come park in front of the Community Center on Wednesday, August 5th. Thank you to the Community Center for doing our hosting duties that week. Thank you.
So we're going to be closed the first week that school's closed.
I know.
No, I think that's good. Everybody be back in school, won't they?
Well, it's after summer reading, but it's during that brief period of time where we take a break.
Yeah.
We have a 2-week break at the end of summer reading and when our regular programming starts up. So we have this brief window where we didn't have to cancel any programmings. So please don't let it rain if anybody has any power over clouds.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Mary, I just want to comment on the lecture series on Sunday. It was excellent, and I encourage people, if they haven't been before, to come because it's really interesting.
Yeah. It's really, I have to put all the credit to Bill Marcione and the Friends of the Smyrna Library. They've done an excellent job of recruiting speakers for that.
Okay, thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is I went upstairs and noticed the teen section that you have, a little teen hangout area, and that's really cool too. I really, I just haven't been upstairs. I've been going in, but not upstairs, so I don't know how long that's been up there, but that's neat.
Yeah, we did that. It's called Teen Territory. We did that about 1.5 years ago. The city gave me a little money to work on that, and the Friends gave me the rest. And basically, we just worked with what we had. We reorganized the shelving, did a little painting, a little sprucing up to create that area, and we've almost outgrown it already. So we've got to get creative on how to expand it.
Anyway, it's neat. I noticed the teens hanging out in there. I was like, wow, this is cool.
It's great to see them, like a group of them will sit on the beanbags and read books and talk and text each other while they're sitting right next to each other. But it's great to see.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, cool. Thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to ask Steve Ciaccio from the Parks and Recreation Department to give us his report.
Thank you. Saturday's movie by Moonlight at Telebrona Park canceled due to some weather coming in. We'll find a date to repeat that movie. It may not be Annie when we do it in September, but it'll be some movie to be announced. The regularly scheduled movie, the next one is August 15th. That is The Box Trolls. About parking for the birthday celebration, as folks know, the green is closed. We try to make an effort to provide for those that would arrive with disabled tags or displayed disabled stickers in their cars. So the library parking lot, for the most part, is reserved for people with disabled tags and stickers. About half of that lot, unfortunately, we lose because we close it off. It's part of the fallout zone. So there's a good number of spots available, but we want folks to know that. The approach to the library can only be made from Hamby and Powder Springs. Obviously, it can't come in from the Village Green side of the road. So keep that in mind. Concert tables for the birthday celebration are still available. There's not a lot of them, but there are some left. Residents would be paying $40 for those tables, and those tables seat 6 folks. The replaster work that was on this evening's agenda is just one of the projects that will be happening at the Wolf Center in the next couple of weeks. We'll also be replacing the boiler, the sand filter, and we'll be doing some interior lighting in the building. So a number of upgrades coming to the Wolf Pool. Thank you.
Will this year's fireworks be as good as what I saw on the 4th of July?
Better.
No, on the 4th of July.
Where were you?
It's in my backyard.
I've
never
did other
seen.
People see the fireworks?
Oh,
in your
yeah.
backyard?
They were spectacular.
My guess is yes, probably. They're really quite wonderful. Okay. We shoot some pretty big rockets, and we do a good job.
I don't know which neighbor it was, but he put on a great display. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I challenge that neighbor anytime. I'm sure we're going to have a better show down here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
One question. You mentioned closing the Wolf Center pool. Do you know the dates the pool will
We
be
don't have those
closed?
dates. In fact, since I haven't met this vendor yet, Sears Aquatics, I'll be talking to him tomorrow. It's 3 different contractors that I have to pull together and make sure it's a coordinated effort. But it'll probably be closed. 3 weeks on the outside. I'd like to say that it would be done in 2, but I'm not sure of it, so we'll say 3.
When do you think the work might start?
I'd like to think the end of August.
Okay, so we've got time to get the word out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Steve. With that, I yield.
Mr. Wade Lineker.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll ask our city clerk, Terry Graham. She's got a report, I guess, from court services.
Good evening. For court services in June 2015, we had 801 citations received and processed for court dates. In June 2015, there were 740 cases that ended on 9 dockets. There were 328 cases that paid prior to their court date, and 161 defendants failed to appear for their court dates. 397 defendants paid with our online payment system. Our police department, as far as the clerk's department goes, our police department processed 60 open record requests. The clerk's office processed 23 open record requests. I also wanted to talk about qualifying. Our qualifying will begin August the 31st. Through Wednesday, September the 2nd. So that will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 3 full days of qualifying from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. in the HR conference room on the first floor of City Hall. We will be qualifying for all council seats and all 7 council seats and 1 mayor. There are 7 polling places located in Smyrna. A map will be posted on our website and available at City Hall if you would like a copy. Our ward map and polling places indicated, and it can be emailed to you if you contact the city clerk's office. Any questions?
So you said something that, what does it cost to qualify?
I don't have that with
I
me,
think
but
somebody's just right there on that.
It's on the city website.
It is on the
That's
city
all right.
website.
Andrew Bluestein's got it.
For which position?
For the council,
Okay, let's see. For council, it is 567.
Yes.
And for mayor, it's 756.
That's right. Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Terry.
on the back of our flyer.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
And this has been brought to my attention also by some of the citizens. And I mean, sometimes even when we've had the same map for a number of years, it's still sometimes people don't understand where the boundaries are. But being that we're changing, or that our district lines will change, people have asked me if it's possible to have a map like in some of the buildings, like the lobby of City Hall or the community center, possibly for people to look at.
Absolutely. We can have one made and put in front of City Hall in the lobby.
And maybe even the library.
In
I
the
don't know.
library, we could have one made, especially the redistricted map, the
Yeah,
one that
that's
they
what
will
I
be
was
voting
thinking.
on. Yes.
Okay.
Which will be they'll vote on it in November, but then they'll take their seats in January for those redistricted wards.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Kay Bullock, our HR director, also has a report tonight. Some good and happy news.
It's always nice to come up with just good, happy news. We always need that. For the month of July, we have 5 employees that I would like to recognize for their service with us. Starting at the 5-year mark, we have Jody Mills, who is our recreation coordinator over at the Wolf Center. She has been with us 5 years. At our Public Works, we have crew worker James Bennett, otherwise known to a lot of us as John Henry. He has celebrated 15 years this month. Also 15 years, Metro Waring, who is our GCIC specialist at the police department. Metro's a great gal and does a lot for us as well. At 20 years, we have Claire Phillips, our accounts payable payroll coordinator. She has celebrated 20 years first part of this month. And topping out this month is Eric Cooper, who is our new supervisor of water and sewer at the Public Works. He has 25 years. So we really appreciate their service with us, and I look forward to next month telling you who's for the August. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Congrats to all those great employees. Ward 6 is happy to note that Uncle Mattio's Pizza Joint down on the east-west connector at South Cobb Drive is open. Had their grand opening last week, and so that's a new spot that, you know, if you're in that area and looking for a place to go, encourage you to try it. I also want to recognize Ward 6 resident Linda Hedrick. Linda is an Army veteran, lives here in the community, and she was recognized by Smyrna American Legion Post 160 this past Saturday evening as their Legionnaire of the Year for her tireless and selfless service and dedication to veterans' causes and helping veterans, and her work at the post. She's a great lady, does a great job. She also serves on the Smyrna Veterans Committee that helps us plan Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So she's very active in those kinds of things. Finally, I'd just like to thank the folks all over Smyrna for their kindness that they show me as I go around and knock on their doors, and I appreciate everything that people do for me. With that, I yield.
Mr. Ron Fennell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll ask Chief Roy Akery if he'd come forward first. While he's coming forward, I will just note that we also have a new business in Ward 7, down in place of the old Buckhead Barbecue, Highlands Parkway at Oakdale, is Jimmy John's Sandwich Shop, very popular in the metro. Chief?
Good evening, everybody. Wouldn't you know it, the one night that I decided of recent nights here to not talk about severe thunderstorms. We have one pass right over us.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But I did want to, I know everybody noticed how incredibly hot and humid it was out today, so I thought that it'd be appropriate, especially given that tomorrow is supposed to be even a little bit hotter, believe it or not, so it'd be a appropriate time to talk about heat-related emergencies. Just really as a reminder, now the people most at risk for heat-related illnesses are seniors and infants and even people with circulatory problems. So we're really encouraging everybody, especially when we reach these, these outdoor heat index temperatures that approach dangerous as they were today. As a matter of fact, there was a heat index advisory just south of us for about half the state from around Macon south. And tomorrow, because it's scheduled to be just a little bit warmer, we might reach those advisory levels here. So it's really important for people to pay attention. Being outside in the heat with this type of humidity in the sun is one of those things that can catch up with you, and when you realize there's something going on that's unusual, it's a little bit too late. So we're encouraging people to try to stay out of the direct sun during the hottest part of the days. Stay indoors if you can. Of course, stay hydrated, primarily with water. Drinks like Gatorade, those are a great thing, and I'm sure that all of us enjoy them, but Gatorade's not the best thing for you when it's heat index advisory type weather outside like it will be tomorrow. The best thing to do is drink water. Also, just a reminder, of course, never leave children or pets alone inside a vehicle. We all know that the temperature inside a vehicle can escalate into the 150 range really, really fast, just in a matter of minutes. And also just as a reminder to check on elderly neighbors and family and friends that you might know that might not be able to have air conditioning, especially this week. And as we get into the end of this month and into next month, just check on them if you can. But that's about it.
Me?
Thank you, Roy.
Chief, thank you and thank you for hosting at Fire Station 5 our town hall meeting the other night. We appreciate your team allowing us to use that training room. It's a great room if anybody wants to have a public meeting. I know that since we're open 24/7, 365 at that location, community groups can take advantage of what is a great room, and I appreciate you allowing us to use that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief David Lee, Smyrna Police Department. while he's coming forward, I also want to echo the sentiments relative to our youth sports programs in town, not just with our baseball program, but our swim teams. We have one of the largest municipal swim teams in America. We have over 500 swimmers in the Smyrna Sharks. Last weekend, we went as co-champions. The Makos and Hammerheads were co-gold division champions, went to Holly Springs to compete. And let me just get this number right. I'll read this. 69 of 104 swimmers that went to district qualified to go on to the state meet. And we had 10 swimmers set new district records. And so that is a big deal, and we're excited about that. They're going to state. My two sons are on that team and are going to state. So hopefully at our next meeting we'll be able to announce Smyrna's swim team's victories, much like we're able to do here with baseball. So I'm excited. Chief Lee, again, thank you for helping make our town hall meeting the other night, and to bring the team to talk about body cameras, a really important and topical subject, and I appreciate you taking time to do that. I wish I had more constituents come out to patronize the opportunity, but thank you for doing that.
Hey, as long as we get one person, we're happy.
More than that, but, yeah.
Well, keep it in line with the youth. Our Smyrna Police Department Explorers a couple of weeks ago went down to a state competition at Georgia Public Safety Training Center, and there was 20 teams represented from 14 different agencies. And what they do is they have certain type of calls that they compete on, and the trouble unknown call, our team came in first place after that. So we're real proud of them. They've got so many trophies, we're not sure where to put them right now. So we're looking at redoing the little exhibit that we have outside in the atrium of the police department. Another thing that we've had is really starting to take off, and I know I talked about this at the last council meeting, the Call Before You Go program. The media that we've got on this, one of the first ones was WSB, and Wendy Corona came to Smyrna and did a live segment with it, and was there at one of the businesses as the officers were talking about the program. Shortly after that, the Channel 46 contacted our PIO, who unfortunately we are losing. He has obtained an engineering degree and is no longer going to be a police officer. He's going to be a full-time engineer. But it was a great loss losing him. He was a great officer. Or he is a great officer, I shouldn't say it like that. But so anyhow, we had another segment on that. We did some checking on the internet, and we found out our program was receiving statewide attention and was being rebroadcast and on different media throughout the state. So as a result, we've been getting some calls from other police departments about starting similar programs. Master Patrol Officer Defense also met with the Cobb County Chamber of Commerce, and they're pleased to hear about the program, and they're going to start to push it out to their members. And we've received interest from Bank of America, SunTrust Bank, and Chase Bank. And we're working with them to see about pushing that out to some of their account holders, primarily in the business. So it's really taken off. We've already had a good about 8 to 10 businesses who's already taken advantage of it. So we're real excited about it. On another note, our K-9 Paco, who's handled by Master Patrol Officer Cole, assisted Cobb County Police in locating a homicide suspect with K-9 Paco doing the track and locating the suspect. Initially, at the time, it was not a homicide, but it turned into one shortly thereafter. So that the dog tracked the suspect and found him hiding in the woods. And then as a safety tip, summer tips, and this is probably one of our biggest problems with people leaving computers in their cars and other items of value. One of the things that we continue to suggest, if you're going to leave it in your car, lock it up, put it in the trunk of your car, or try to hide it if you have to leave it in there. Part of the problem you get people walking through parking lots and they just look inside the car. So, try not to become a victim with that.
Chief, in addition to your Call Before You Go program, can you remind people about the other program you started a few months ago to help online purchasers who may use your facility? Yes,
the other program was actually Officer Chris Graff came up with it, and Operation, the name eludes me now, Safe Sale. Mm-hmm. And where if you're doing internet sales, you can come to the police department, use our parking lot, you can come inside. If the item has any kind of serial number, we'll be more than happy to run it on GCIC to make sure that it has not been reported as stolen at that particular time. And that's another program that's been copied by 2 agencies in Arkansas, 1 in Arizona, and then several others. Of course, Marietta had to copy it too. They came up with a different name, but
both great programs and both nationally recognized, and thank you for initiating those.
Yes, sir.
Any questions of the Chief?
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
I have one other item, Mr. Mayor. In addition to thanking people for coming to our town hall meeting the other night, I wish there had been more. We are announcing that there will be another town hall meeting on August the 11th in the Vinings Estates community, specifically for an annexation and zoning request for the Pebblebrook application of the Maxwell property. So anybody interested in that, obviously I'll promote that through social media, our website, Facebook, our August 3rd meeting as well. But I just wanted to put it out there in advance if anybody had an interest in attending. That'll be on the August the 11th at 7:30 p.m. With that, Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Ms. Bentley, appreciate it. I believe it's going to give Ms. Nullowitch's.
Yes, I'd like to ask Ms. Jennifer Bennett to come up, please, from Community Relations. She has a report for us. in Terry's absence.
Thank you. I want to remind people who get a water bill to make sure you look. There's a new city newsletter in there, and it's full of lots of great information about what's going on in the city. It includes just an overall recap of what's been happening in Smyrna up to this date, sort of where we stand. It has some information about the vision process and upcoming city events and development and project updates, and along with a message about where the residential market is right now. It also has the information about qualifying for running for office on the back and elections in this particular edition. And in the event section, I want to draw your attention to the Smyrna Birthday Celebration, which is Saturday, August 1. It runs from 6 until 10 p.m. in the downtown. We'll have food, music, fireworks. Banks and Shane. Wesley Cook opens and Banks and Shane brings it home. The fireworks are at dark toward the end of the event. And you may have noticed if you run along or drive along Atlanta Road and Spring Road, we have 2 digital signs up and running. You'll start seeing messaging folding into those signs. The birthday celebration is running there now, along with where to find the city website. And with that, I yield.
Did you mention McIntyre birthday cake?
Oh, McIntyre, yeah. They give us a giant birthday cake for the city birthday celebration. And I think you may see a preview from Marietta Daily Journal, too, with them soon, talking about the birthday celebration.
The best cake anywhere.
Yeah.
McIntyre Bakery.
They make some pretty awesome cupcakes, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I watched my figure on that. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all, Melanie?
That's all. Thank you.
Next is the Oh, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Cochran? You've already given your report, Heather, you got anything to say? Good. We do not have a show cause hearing. We've got a couple of folks signed up for public input. Alec Backery, 3459 Shawnee Trail, comments.
My first comment tonight is on an article in the Marietta Journal on term limits last week by a couple of the council people. My first comment is on Mr. Lennick's stating that when you have a town of 500, you don't have many people to pick from. I don't understand that comment because Smyrna has 27,000 registered voters approximately in a city of 50,000. In the last election, 19 people ran for council. For office here in Smyrna. This current one, with a month and a half to go, is up to 16 that I know of they'll be running. So there is not a field of limited people that will be running in this election. And I hope more add into it by August 31st. Also, Mr. Welch made a comment that if you're good and qualified, you hate to see someone leave. Well, it's up to the people to decide who is good and doing a good job. And I hope this goes on the limited ballot for this fall. Again, I've always believed that the majority rule. And again, open government is when somebody has a chance to express their opinions, like the liquor referendum last year. It was 20% turnout. Had it not been for that, it'd probably have been back to the standard 15%, which is pathetic. So people that pay the salaries of these elected officials would like every opportunity to express their opinions on an issue. And I hope this goes through, that you do have it on the referendum for term limits on the November ballot. And secondly, that interview by Ward 3 last week with Channel 2 on Jonquil Plaza, saying everybody's happy with the format. That's quite the opposite. I've found that not one person believes that we should put more apartments in at Jonquil Plaza. It should be totally commercial. That way you're going to have some sort of downtown Smyrna with shopping. Again, we only have 3 bars and a Moe's restaurant. That's not downtown. Look at Hiram and Marietta. We need shopping, and that takes away from it. And that's a prime location. To add between there and Belmont over 500 apartments is going to be an eyesore that takes away what I call downtown shopping. And I hope this council turns down that proposal and keeps it 100% commercial. I don't know what the rush is to make this decision. Thank you.
Corky Welch, 870 Austin Drive. Election is his topic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm here more to address the citizens than the mayor and council this evening, but it is with great excitement and anticipation that I announce my intent to seek re-election. I don't know if I'm number 17 or if I'm included in that 16 number, but I will seek re-election in November. My ward has changed somewhat, probably more than anybody else's on this council over the last 4 years, when we did sort of a reassessment of the population in each ward. My ward shifted from Atlanta Road all the way out to everything's on the other side of South Cobb Drive now. But I welcome that. I'm giving up Forest Hills and Smyrna Heights and a lot of friends and a lot of supporters in both those areas. But I'm picking up Bennett Woods and King Valley and a lot of other supporters in the surrounding neighborhoods of those that live close to me. And I'm picking up those friends and supporters there. In the past election, I made very few promises. I promised to represent this city with honesty and integrity. I promised to return my emails and phone calls, and I promised to to vote for what I felt was best for the city of Smyrna at all times. And I felt like I've kept those promises over the past 3.5 years, and I intend to over the next 4 years if reelected. In closing, I'd just like to ask for your vote from the citizens of Ward 4 on November the 3rd. And if they have any questions, they can call or email, and I promise I'll call them back. Thank you.
That's the last person for citizens input. If there's no other business to be brought before this body, I declare this meeting adjourned at 9:36.